time it is. It is time for YOTVLive on a hashtag Thinking Thursday. And here is something that we'd like you to think about. What role does substance abuse play in violence against women and children, especially since we're dealing with 16 days of activism? And here's how we're going to do it. We have a wonderful motivational speaker, Lesedi Mphahlele, in the house with us, who's going to help us get to grips with what is the substance abuse thing. When it comes to 16 days of activism and the violence against women and children, the main thing that people forget is what is one of the biggest causes, and it's actually substance abuse. So substances like alcohol and drugs and those type of things. So let us introduce to you a philanthropist, a motivational speaker,
and
a
attorney.
And an attorney. So you're in good hands today. Let's welcome Lesedi Mphahlele. Yay! Londo, you didn't get the shirt memo, my friend.
Like, I feel like I'm the only one who How are you doing, Mr. Lesedi?
I'm right in yourself.
I'm great, man. Welcome to YOTVLive.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So talk to us about the broader context of, because you've done a lot of talks with young people about substance abuse.
Yes.
What is it that leads young people to think that, you know what, I'll be cool if I abuse a substance?
The fundamental reason for young people resorting to substance abuse is a lack of mentorship. A lack of mentorship, because we grow up, yes, you may grow up in a stable family, you know, with parents that teach you values and beliefs, etc. But if you do not have a mentor, because, you know, children, our young people go to school, and in primary school, they get taught mathematics, geography, history, but there's very little life lessons. There isn't much done in terms of mentoring these young people to shape them up for their future, so that they can understand who they, first of all, to help them to understand themselves, and secondly, to understand their own paths, as opposed to trying to emulate something which is not within their life journey.
But it's fun, man, and it seems cool on TV and they want to do it.
And how bad is substance abuse amongst teens and adults?
Substance abuse is actually, at this current moment, a bigger epidemic than HIV/AIDS. Simply because it is one of the main causes of many other social ills.
Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to prove how cool you were, and then you kind of got into the whole substance thing?
I think the definition of what is cool needs to be put out there. Cool is not necessarily just, you know, looking cool, driving fancy cars, or doing what society considers as cool. Your cool is not necessarily my cool. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is in the classroom, for example, being you know, the class clown, or getting along with the cool crowd. That is what getting along with people who do not actually focus on their studies, don't do their homework, etc. Don't listen in class, are disrupting in class. That is what is perceived as cool within the class environment. Whereas vice versa, you know who the cool kid is? The cool kid is the one that's actually sitting in class, pays attention, does their homework, ignores whatever pressures may come from their peers.
In other words, the cool kid is
boring.
Rwando.
Boring. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, this guy's cool.
Very cool.
Going back to the link between substance abuse and other social ills. Firstly, abuse against women and children. Other social ills being also crime. We know that the stats say that 60% of all crime committed are committed because as a result of people who are under the influence of substances. So if you were to eradicate, this is the root problem, if you were to take out the substance abuse problem, 60% of the crimes wouldn't be there. So you're dealing with the crime issue by attacking the root being substance abuse. Not totally, but you're taking a chunk out of it. Same with abuse against women and children. So, you know, we need to actually start having these conversations as a country. Stop sweeping this problem under the carpet and
having a conversation kind of like the one that we're having now. And Lesedi's going to be with us throughout the show, so please do stay tuned.
Welcome back, everybody. Still watching YOTVLive right on SABC1 Mzansi for sure. I'm trying to go back to we're still talking about abusing substance abuse, and our poll question for the day is: have you ever been pressured by your environment to indulge in any kind of illegal substance abuse? Mr. Lesedi, I don't know. Let's say now I have a friend who lives with people who abuse alcohol, right? And then. In that they don't really necessarily abuse me. However, they are within environment and they're abusive towards alcohol and everything. Are my rights being violated or being compromised?
Well, look, it is an unfortunate situation, but what is needed is the support structure. This child, first of all, there needs to be identification. you identify the issue, you identify the fact that, okay, this child is living in this, and family members and people around, teachers. Hence, I spoke about the teaching, the importance of teachers also knowing what to look out for. So it is because the child spends half of the day at school, you know, so they're actually more at school than they are at home with those parents, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a support structures, family members, a cousin, you know, somebody who can see that, listen, this child is actually in an environment which is not conducive for his or her upbringing. Then we start having interventions. You know, there are counselors. Maybe that parent is the one that needs assistance to go to rehabilitation. You know what I mean? So depending on the facts that matter, and I think each case can be treated upon its own merits, but intervention is definitely necessary.
We've spoken a lot about, you know, South Africa and young people, and you've actually done a lot of work with young people with regard to substance abuse. So talk to us more about that. Where did you start?
My journey started when I left rehabilitation in November last year. You know, whilst I was in rehab, you know, when I was going through my whole soul searching process, where I finally unearthed my deepest root, you know, and I meditated and I, you know, leaned on the word of God to give me answers. Why is it that I'm going through what I'm going through? Why me? You know?
Yeah.
Then I snapped out of denial, and I realized that, listen, the only reason why you have actually gone through what you've gone through, and the reason why you are still alive, because I've got plenty of occasions where I just escaped death. Sitting here today, I really shouldn't be alive, but I know I am, because I had to go through what I went through,
You
that whole
had to
process.
do your work, yeah.
So during that time, I knew that, listen, I need to then now take my experience and minister to other people. Because there's one thing about, it's one thing to put banners and say, don't do drugs, you know? If you do drugs, you will die. You're gonna die. You know what I mean? That sort of approach does not help, because a young child growing up, what you do when you approach things like, when you approach it like that, is that you instill curiosity in the child. The child wants to know. If you get 3 children walking down the street and they see a house that's written danger, khafar, tsaba, balega, you know, chances are there will be a few children that will walk past, but there will be those who will be wanting to be curious to say, what is in there? So I figured, okay, I need to come and now, you know, fulfill my life purpose and minister to young people. Not only young people, but, you know, to people in general.
Yes. Now, Mr. Lesedi, I want to know, let's say now I am living, I'm a neighbor, right, to this abusive family that is obviously umzali is abusing mom sekai, and I'm from the outside, and I can't, and the people that are living inside can't report because of social issues and economic issues that they are facing in the family. What do I do as an outside person?
Well, look, that's why we've got you know, bodies like the South African Police Services. So, you know, that is your first sort of entry level. You know, to report what is happening on that side. I mean, first of all, you are looking out for other people's interests. You don't only go report things that are affecting you, but if you witness a crime or witness things like that happening, you know, be socially responsible. Don't be that guy that says, you know, kita go next door, but I born. You know, and also we're not saying be nosy, but it's black and white. If somebody's being abused next door, man up or become a strong woman, whatever the case may be. Go report the case. The SAPS have got systems that, you know, will know exactly how to deal with that matter.
Going back to conquering your addiction, how difficult was it, and what really made you say, yes, I'm stopping this, I'm going straight to rehab? Very quickly before we go to our next.
Listen. First of all, I could have never done it myself. It is through God's grace that firstly I've been able to overcome this. But then again, also my support structure, because support structure is very important to anybody's life, not only for an addict, you know. And I've got a wonderful support structure. You know, I've got my family, my parents, you know, my siblings, Lerato Tsebo, Tuto, But Nelson. The support structure that I have now since I've left rehab, because I'm now reintegrating into society.
So since
the people at Met-Effect, you know, the people at Jericho.
Yeah.
A very special woman in my life who is my rock. Her name is Musidi. You know, that sort of support is very imperative, and that is the reason why I think I'm still managing and going strong today.
So we trust you to actually present on our show today.
Yes.
So can you tell everybody where we're going?
You can trust me. Okay. We are going now to a film/documentary, a very breathtaking one called An Average Addict. An addict is not average. There it goes.
We're at a popular spot in Randburg where drugs are often bought. We're going to try and get some of these deals on camera so that you can see how easy it is to actually get drugs.
You have no idea. I was drunk, probably more than sober, for 10 years of my awake life.
My drug of choice made me the person I wanted to be, made me outgoing, made me talkative, made me friendly.
You really do rip yourself away from your family, and it breaks up your whole family's trust, because eventually you start lying about where the money goes to and or where you are. You start blaming other people, and it creates distrust.
I am the person I am today because of my experience with addiction.
I started using drugs when I was 16. It started off with alcohol.
Okay, so how cool is that? Lesedi is actually in the movie documentary. How cool is that? Why didn't you tell us?
I thought this was supposed to be common course. I thought you knew this.
Oh yes, tell us more about the
In any
movie,
event,
just
listen,
very quickly.
man, very exciting what's going to be happening there. The sort of scenes that are going to come out of there, because the director of the film is Quentin van Kerken, who is the CEO of the Anti-Drug Alliance. He contacted me and said, listen, man, this is exciting prospects. I've gone to speak to former addicts, I've actually taken viewership of actual drug deals happening. I've caught so many things. It's going to be very interesting. He said to me, come through and just add a bit of hope and a bit of motivation to the whole thing. Very exciting prospects coming. And we know that, our youth people love music. I see you guys are playing songs now and again, because music is life.
Yes.
Yes.
Music and life. So another thing that Kaizen is doing is that we're also trying to speak to people through music. And
Yes.
because we're not musicians, we've contacted a soul brother of mine, Dukes.
Okay.
We all know
Yes.
Dukes, speaks messages.
Sure.
So, maybe the next time I'm here, which should be very soon, we'll be playing the music video, which is a Kaizen theme song by Dukes Singanga.
So, Lesedi, thank you so much for being on our show today. And one thing that we just like you to do is, can you give everybody at home just a website that they can go to or something to help, if they feel like they're in a situation like that or someone else's?
Yes, we've got a website running. It's www.Lesedi Mphahlele, lesedimphahlele.coza.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you guys for having me. It was awesome.